Welcome to the Rachel Love Show. You can learn to change your perception and your life by the woman who understands better than most about transitions. Rachel Love, Vice President of the National Center of Inclusion, transition coach, and associate interfaith minister, intuitive instructor, founder of Goddess Love, Rachel Love's School of Intuition Intelligence, and host of The Rachel Love Show. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy another hour with your host, Rachel Love.
It's hard to believe it's Thursday. Okay. I know I could cut that off. It's not like it's real. It's a recording, for goodness sake. I can just go click. But I've said something wrong with me. I'm starting to like it. But anyway, it's Thursday already, and if you were here last week, we've been talking about doing the garden. So today, I went out there and I put potatoes on the ground and put hay on top of them because my friend in Minnesota says that's what you do. And it seemed easier than digging. I did put a few more seeds in. We've had rain here a lot lately, and so now the garden's growing, and I guess, and my nails are broken and I'm a wreck. But apparently this is healthy living, so I'm going to give it a shot. And I have a hard time not saying LOL. I guess I've been on Facebook way too long. Speaking of Facebook and social media and yeah, I know that's kind of a weird lead-in, isn't it? It has nothing to do with my guest either, for that matter, except she does have a Facebook account. And she is on social media, so I guess it does have a bit of a connection. Okay, I'll just go with it. I'm sorry. I'm a little on the excited once again. I have so many fun things going on in my life right now. It's kind of hard to settle down and focus on one thing, but let's try, because we have somebody calling all the way from the United Kingdom, so it means she stayed up late to be here. My guest for this first hour is Meera Shah. She's UK, that's United Kingdom, for you folks here in the South. That's South. Never mind, let that one go. In the Bible Belt of Tulsa. Anyway, UK's top career coach helps ambitious people get to the next level in their careers. This can either be by promotion, change of job, and in some cases, even a change of career. She does this by helping people transform how they think about themselves, their own values, and what is possible for them. I want to introduce everybody. Hello, everybody. This is Meera Shah. Hi, Meera.
Hi, Rachel.
I'm so thankful that you called up. You stayed up late, too. How cool is that?
Anything to be on your show.
You're too nice. I did listen to an interview from a different show and stuff, and you do get around, and I've liked your Facebook page, and I appreciate what you're doing, especially this life coach thing. I think that's a really good thing. I'm doing my studying, too, to add that to my little list of things I do. I do some coaching, but, getting certified and doing it right and official is probably a good thing. And I came from a corporate world, too, like you did. But you came from let me go ahead and mention your website. If you want to know more about Meera, she has a website, of course, and it's MeeraCareerCoaching.com. And Meera on the wall. I have a heck of a time with I really shouldn't be a radio show host, should I, with my mispronouncing of words and stuff. And names, I'm so sorry. But anyway, she came from a very strong corporate background, working in investment banks as Goldman Sachs to HSBC, and several years training to be an accountant. And I got an MBA from the European Business School. All that, and then you got this idea one day. I can just picture you there in your cubicle. I guess I shouldn't say it. Your office, corner office. And I had the cubicle. You had the corner office. And you decided you should be a life coach. I mean, that's quite brave of you to go after your dreams. And I should probably shut up, let you talk, shouldn't I? I'm going to cut back in coffee, I promise.
No, keep going.
Come on, Meera, say something. I'm scaring you, I'm sure.
No, I was laughing when you said about you have a cubicle. At least you have a cubicle. I don't even have a desk. We hot desk in the office. I have to take my stuff, look for a little chair that no one's using, and literally plug it in. So be grateful for your cubicle. It's more than I have. Honestly, I'm not joking.
But why, Meera, did you decide to leave the cushy corporate life to go out and do something like life coaching?
Yeah, I always get asked this question, and it's obviously a relevant question. Well, lots of reasons. So I kind of stumbled into the corporate world when I was young. I became an accountant also by accident. It just kind of all happened by accident, straight out of uni, and it was just the thing that everyone was doing. And if I'm honest, I stumbled into it. I did it for years, and it was kind of in my 30s when I worked so hard for so long. I was always just a little bit unfulfilled. I suffered from self-esteem issues. So I did a lot of personal development work. So, I really worked hard to increase my self-esteem and also just to be happy. And I always felt like in the corporate environment, you kind of have to conform. And I worked in banking, which is even worse. You kind of have to act a certain way, dress a certain way, use certain language. And I just wanted to be free. I didn't care for all that stuff. I hated that some guy was appraising me. And I was like, I don't even think you're good, and you get to tell me how rubbish I am. It used to drive me nuts. And then, anyway, so a mixture of all that. I sit in the corporate environment. And then I think also what happened in my 30s is I just got burnt out, and I kind of thought, actually, I want to do my own thing where no one's telling me what to do. I just wanted to run my own business. So you know how I did the famous soul searching. They say, look for your passions, look. So I spent so much money and time on personal development. I knew that was like a natural passion. So I trained to become a life coach. I took some time out, and for me it was really easy. I knew I wanted to help people use the same journey I'd had. I also believe a lot in spirit and the universe and that kind of stuff. And it's not for everyone, so I don't always bring it into my work. But for me personally, it's a big part of my life. So anyway, what I then did was I looked to what I needed to do, and I trained to become a life coach. So I did a life coach certification, but then you kind of have to niche because life coaching is so generic, and you really need to specialize. And I thought, what better way than to bring all my corporate experience and my personal development and bring it together into one area. And I look around people, and more people at work were asking me, hey, you look so happy these days. What are you doing? Can you help me? And I wanted to help them also just unlock themselves and be free and be true to who they were. So it really kind of just naturally then followed. The career coaching was really an obvious next step of bringing the two together for me.
Well, so you didn't like the office job very much. When you started talking about that, brought back some memories of myself. In my years working in corporate world, I made a plan early on that I was going to hit a certain age, and I was going to no longer have to do that working for a living. I was going to make myself in a position where I can give back to the community and make a difference. You did it a little sooner than I did. I kind of wish maybe I would have less scars if I was able to do it a little bit sooner. You left at 30. I waited till 40s.
When did you give yours up? When did you give your call?
I'm not going to tell you. I have a real issue with saying my age on the radio. I lie on Facebook.
Sorry, not your age.
I gotta get over it. I gotta get over it, Meera. Now, if I'm gonna do this sort of stuff, I need to be authentic. I preach this to everybody else. I should preach it to myself, but I tend not to listen to myself. Okay, I'll say this really quick.
I meant how many years ago. I would never ask you.
Okay, that's better. Let me count it on my fingers. Let me get my toes out, too, now. Let me see. No. 12 years ago. About 12 years ago. I'm sure it must be time for a commercial by now. I'm sitting there going, oh, my God.
Put you on the spot, sir.
Oh, it's okay. People do that. And it's important to be authentic and be truthful. And I'm all for that. I mean, I say that all the time. And you're never really going to find who you are until you are authentic. But I've always had this little thing about admitting my age. But it's getting harder because more and more of my pictures are showing up places. And there's these things that look like wrinkles starting to form. And I'm sure it's just because of digital cameras. It has nothing to do with the reality of the situation. But I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to keep lying, stretching the truth as much as I have been on age. But here, I saw your picture. Speaking of that, you look really young yet, so I'm glad that you stopped the corporate world early and decided to be the life coach. So you'd mentioned something that kind of piqued my interest, and you talked about spiritual things and how important that was to you. and I'm kind of that way myself too. I think there was more to just making money. Is there a connection between giving up the cushy guaranteed job? I know it sucked because you had somebody judging you all the time, and you had all the different corporate speak, and oh by golly, every time we turn around, there was another facilitator coming in teaching another course, and we all changed our language. So I certainly understand corporate speak, but was it more important
Yeah.
to be yourself than the money? I think that was interesting. A lot of people can't do that.
And that was the hard bit, because when I was in corporate world, you know, when you're spiritual, it's always about being true to yourself and being who you are, you know, not worrying about the rest. Oh, shit.
Yeah, still here. Sorry.
No,
Did I lose
it's okay.
you?
There's that thing in the corporate world, when you can't be yourself, it's really hard because, you know, when you want to be spiritual, they always say be true to yourself and be true to your spirit. And I found it increasingly hard in a corporate environment to be that. So I was really in conflict a lot of times. So that definitely, the spirituality definitely impacted my. And also nowadays, it's okay to say you're spiritual or mention the word angel, the spirit guides in the corporate environment. About 10 years ago, they just look at you like you were so weird. They really would look at you like you're so weird. So I would be leading this dual life. I'd be a banker by day, at night I'd be this hippie, and it was just crazy.
Yeah, I can relate.
Yeah, you know, and I'm sure you've had the same experience, haven't you?
Yeah, and I still sometimes have some of that stuff stuck in the back of my head when I do something. So I do, I have this other show, Ghost Whispering and Paranormal stuff, and I host that show, and it's really a lot of fun, and I do dabble a little bit in some of that kind of fun things, and I do some work for the Secret Hoop, and I have lots of very interesting things. But even now, every so often, I'm doing this, and I look at my resume stuff, and I go like, oh my, what if the boys I used to work with before, what do they think of me now? You know, it's still, after all these years, it's still kind of ingrained. Oh my God, they're probably going to think I'm really out there now, but the truth was
So,
always
yeah,
was.
they thought you were weird.
I've been drinking the Kool-Aid. Oh, speaking of drinking the Kool-Aid, I gotta do a new commercial. Okay, it's time for commercial already, and I hope this don't chase you away. Sometimes I have a new guest come in, and I do one of my commercials for like Ghost Whispering or something, and then I 40 seconds go by. Hello, are you still there? I didn't mean to scare you. And so I want to give you a bit of a warning. I'm starting a new show in May on Fridays, and we got brand new commercials for it, and it's called Alien Chronicles. Alien Chronicles. Truth or fiction?
Wow,
okay.
No, I won't do that. I'm here. I'll be right here.
Okay. Well, let me see if I can find the commercial. The owner of the station, A to Z, Holly, she's really, really wonderful, and she helps me and teaching me a few things about the commercials, and she made a commercial for me, and she always teases me because I'm not really good at just pushing a button and make it nice and smooth and professional. I'm always over here going, okay, where the hell did I put that? Okay, let's see. This should be it. Let's hope it works. Okay, we'll be back in 30 seconds, give or take.
Alien Chronicles, fact or fiction, on A2Zen.fm. Every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern, providing a forum to discuss alien activities and their effects on this planet, from eyewitnesses to experts, asking the question, is there alien life here on Earth? Have we been affected by their presence? Why the secrecy? Is there a cover-up in place? Alien Chronicles, fact or fiction, A2Zen.fm, 5 p.m. Fridays with Rachel Rose.
Now I'm giggling on that one. You still there, Meera?
I am still here.
Well, I've been doing this show for a little bit, the Rachel Love Show, and I started doing the Ghost Whisperer show. Sort of threw it out to see if there's any interest in it, and it's really, I got downloads and stuff. It's really kicking butt out there, And I want to do something else because one of the things I get on that show, Paranormal, I get a lot of people talk about star seeds and different things, perhaps the influence of aliens on religion and stuff. And so I thought, well, that might be kind of interesting. We'll get some guests in and we'll have a great conversation. But anyway, we're back on the Rachel Love Show. Hopefully, nobody's got removed from this sphere somewhere else. There's no green folks or purple or gray folks in here. We're good. Okay, so we have Meera. Are you still here?
Hi.
You didn't run away, did you?
This break. Yeah.
Okay, good. So we were talking a little bit about how difficult it is to be spiritual and then work in a corporate world and how times have changed. So that's better now, yet there's still some stigma. We talked a little bit about age, very lightly touched that. You scared me on that one. And we talked about how you're doing life coaching and going back into the corporate world, and you're specializing as a life coach on helping people make their career. So your your website is Meera, careercoaching.com. And this is your fastest way to your dream job. You're coaching people, help them to move up and make a difference in the world. And how are you doing this? What's your kind of give me, if you would, somebody wants to contact you and they have some issues, how's the process work? Do they email you? Do they call you? Do you get some basic information and go visit them?
Yeah, so if they're in London, then there's a few options. Obviously, there's one-to-one coaching, which really is where you can have the biggest difference, because when somebody works with you individually, they look at the issues, whereas, when you go to a workshop, they give you tools, but then you have to go and apply them yourself. Whereas when you're doing one-to-one coaching and you're doing a series of sessions, they actually help you analyze what you have to go and think about, but also that regular support keeps pushing you. And if you're paying a coach, trust me, if you turn up next week without having other staff, you won't, because you're paying. First of all, you're paying, it's a waste of your money, but also you'll be really embarrassed because the coach will always ask you and say, do you really want this job? Do you really want to do this? And it's such an embarrassing, because I've been on the receiving end, it's such an embarrassing question. Just to avoid that question, you get the work done. But, it helps. So anyway, I digress. But if you're in London, then one-to-one coaching is really easy. But actually, most coaching these days is done on Skype. You probably know that yourself, being a coach. So yeah. I work with people on Skype all over the world. And Skype is really good because people love just being in their pajamas with a cup of tea on the bed. You don't have to make that face-to-face contact. You can really think about what you're saying. You don't have to worry about eye contact and where you're dressed. It's really comfortable in your bed, and you can be really honest with yourself. So Skype works really well. If you're in London, I also run meetups. I run a meetup group called the London Professional Networking Club. So I normally give them some tips, and then they network. And I'm in the process of creating a series of workshops, which will be live in London. But I'm also, on the back of that, going to create some teleseminars, which obviously people can dial in from anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
But if people want to connect, one of the things I would really recommend people to do is, on my website, there's a link for my tips, and what I run is a program called the 4 Fastest Ways to Advance Your Career. And there's free newsletters, free tips that I regularly send out. So if they click on that link, they'll get my 4 free tips, and that will get them to see what I'm all about. And then from there, they can apply those tips. It's free, and then they can also stay in touch with me through that.
Life coaching, and I feel like a devil's advocate here. Is there value in life coaching? Does it really make a difference in somebody's life? Is it worth for them to spend the money to get a professional to coach them? Is that something that's really needed nowadays, or are there better ways to spend your money? Oh, I can't believe I just said that, but I had to.
Did you just say you were training up to become a coach?
I got to do the devil's advocate. That's the gig I got. That's the job I got. If somebody's listening to this.
No, but it's good you asked that, because if someone asks you that, you need to be sure. Of course, there's a lot of value in seeing a coach. The fact that one is a bit stuck is, a lot of, like, it's like saying, do you need friends in your life? Of course you need friends. We all need some support. We need a push. We need a helping hand. And the problem with your friends is they're not trained. They have their own projections, and they bring in their own personal opinions into your life. It's so much easier to speak to a professional and speak to someone who you're paying, so they're really dedicated to your support week on week and will, ask the right questions. They're trained. They'll bash you if you don't do your work. It's really important to have a coach. I wouldn't say you need a coach on an ongoing basis. That's absolutely not. But every time you want to make a change or you want to change something and you feel a little bit stuck or you need a bit of a push, I think we always need to remember to ask for help. And when you ask for help, that's the coaching. And the nice thing about coaching versus psychology, as you probably know, coaching is about just what you want to go get. Let's go get it. Let's move forward. Psychology is a lot about analyzing your past and analyzing what happened in the past, which makes you understand what you're doing now. And for me, that's like, okay, yeah, that's useful, but so what? I want to just move ahead. So that's why I prefer coaching. Coaching, we don't really look at the past too much. And just to add how important I think coaching is, I'm going to give everybody a little story.
All right, we're ready.
So, yeah, are you ready?
I'm ready.
But my favorite story is, I always tell people, imagine, like, say there's a baby, right? And this baby is lying down, and, baby's 6 months, and then it sees its older sibling crawling and trying to walk. So, of course, what happens? The baby's in its nest, and then after a while it suddenly realizes there's this thing that everybody's doing that it can't do, which is walking. So, of course, what does the baby do? The baby wants to try and crawl or walk. But there is no way this baby is going to be able to walk or crawl on its own. What's the first thing it does? It will look for a table to help prop itself up. And more often than not, it will look for a mom or a dad or a sibling or somebody to help it push and walk along. And we forget that as adults. We cannot start walking on our own. Quite often we need that little support, a little push to help us walk. Of course, after a few tries, baby's up and walking. Nobody holds our hands now when we walk. But it's just that little support in it.
Well, not very often.
We will fall. And when the baby falls, it needs someone to pick it up. So the same thing as adults. When we try new behavior, we're going to fall, we're going to feel weird, we're going to feel out of our comfort zone. So having that support and help really helps you walk. When you fall, they pick you up again. Then once you're up on your way, that's it.
I love the story. I love the story. Of course, we start talking about children, I start getting nervous. I had a palm reader who told me that I was going to have more children, and I was thinking that's going to be one of those immaculate conception type things. But, you never know in the spiritual world. So, I mean, extra careful. I don't even want to talk about this subject. Yeah, but let's not go there either. I don't need a life coach. I need a counselor for that one. And I want to talk to you about that.
I have to have that conversation offline.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. That's the difference. Coaching is not the same as seeing a psychiatrist. It's not the same thing as going and see your psychotherapist or whatever. Coaching is, of course, based on some understanding of philosophy and psychology, but it's not the same thing. And you brought that up, and I think that's important. It is sometimes there's a stigma, not so much my friends, but sometimes there's a stigma going to a therapist or a psychiatrist or something. And people look at you, especially in your corporate world, you're going to go see a therapist, you're going to see this, and they kind of roll their eyes at you. And I know that's not right.
Oh, nobody ever says. In the corporate world, nobody ever says they're seeing a therapist. They're all seeing therapists, but nobody will ever say that. They might say they're seeing a coach, because it's cool to go and achieve your goals and go get your goals, so it's cool to say they're seeing a coach. But in the corporate world, nobody says they're seeing, any other kind of therapist.
That'd be like admitting that you're weak or something, and that'd be, dog eat dog sort of thing. But seeing a coach is different. But what if you got somebody comes in and they have some serious issues? They want to move forward, but there's some issues that they probably should deal with, some mommy issues or daddy issues or some sort of issues. And I'm not trying to be flippant, but I don't really want to get into issues, but there's something that's kind of hindering them more so than what a coach could help them with. What do you do with a person like that?
So I've had that quite a few times. You're absolutely right. And if it is, sometimes you can put it to the side and let the person know. So I had a client recently who had some real self-esteem issues, and she had a lot of fear issues based on a knockback. She had a work experience, and I had to say to her, I said, look, you need to get past that issue. Are you able to put that aside and move on? And in her case, she was actually able to put it to the side and move on and go off and deal with it on her own. So that was the case. I will tell the person you do need to deal with this issue. But if it's not a big blocker, it's something, as long as they're aware of, and I can just mention and say, oh, look, you're acting from that fear place, then she recognizes it and she just parks it and we can move on. But I've had another client who came to me and she was actually depressed. I said to her in the second session, I think you're depressed, I can't help you. And in the third session, she finally admitted she was depressed. So I said I didn't want to help her because she was just in a bad place. And I said, you're wasting your money. When you've overcome your depression and you want to continue, I can work with you. But I have had another client who had some personal issues to resolve. But what we agreed was we would go ahead with the coaching, but she would at the same time go and seek the help of a therapist to deal with that other issue separately. So it kind of depends. If you can proceed with the coaching either by parking the issue on the side or by letting them deal with it simultaneously, then you can still coach. Because, in life we always have issues, and quite often we can move forward in spite of them. And it's a bit like a laundry basket. You put it in your dirty laundry basket, and you have to clean it or deal with it, but you can deal with it as and when it suits you. But sometimes the issue is so big, like if you had no clean clothes, you would have to do some laundry before you get out. It kind of depends. It depends on where they're at, I suppose.
We got to do another commercial, and I'm sitting there looking at my laundry basket thinking, okay, this girl's got some psychic stuff going on too. But it is encouraging to know that, you might have some issues in the past, but coaching is not about spending time in the past. It's about moving forward to what your wants and needs are. And I want to talk to you a little bit more about that. But I got to do a commercial here, and let's hope for the best on this one. This is a commercial for tomorrow's show, the Ghost Sister Show on Friday at 4 o'clock. We got a woman coming in tomorrow, and she's from Eastern Europe. So we're really getting over there recently from folks in your side of the pond. Is that the right term to use it over there in London? You're the other end of the pond, or I'm sure there's some name I'm messing up somehow. But anyway, she's from Eastern Europe. She's now in the States, but she's going to be a guest on Ghost Whisperer Show. We're just getting so downright international. Just got to love this world we live in.
Have you ever felt the presence
Have
of something or someone Have you ever wondered if there is another side, another dimension? Rachel Love, the Ghost Whisperer, can help you with answers. Rachel has the gift of being a conduit in communicating with those who have gone on before us. Rachel is also an intuitive. Tune in each Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on A2Zen.fm to the Ghost Whisperer Show. Call in during her show. The Ghost Whisperer can assist you in finding closure and answers to your question. That is the Ghost Whisperer Show each Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on A2Zen.fm.
And we got one more, and we'll be right back to Meera to hear all the fun things going on as a life coach. But let's go ahead and toss in there halfway.
You don't want to miss the Rachel Love Show every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can learn to change your perspective and your life by the woman who understands better than most about transition. The Rachel Love Show, Vice President of the National Center for Inclusion. Do not miss this show. Find her in the podcast or on iTunes. The Rachel Love Show, every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern, here at A2Zen.fm. interested in finding out more about Rachel Love's services, counseling, intuitive instructor, interfaith minister? Well, you can. All you have to do is email her at rachel@engagelifeinstitute.org, or you can contact her through her website at rachellove.co. Now back to the Rachel Love Show with your host, Rachel Love.
Meera, are you still there? There you are. Okay, good. We were, could you believe we're halfway over it? I mean, I just can't believe how fast the time goes by. Did you get a chance to get a cup of tea or something? I know I'm keeping you up late.
I had one before we started, so don't worry. I think I'll last an hour. I'm not going to fall asleep on you.
Well, it's afternoon here, and I'm drinking coffee. So it's just what I do about this time of day. I get up early, and it just seems like it's part of the probably all those coffee breaks in the corporate world. So we were talking about life coaching and how you can move on with your. You might have some past issues, serious issues. Of course, you would be referred back to a therapist, psychiatrist, or something. But life coaching and coaching in general is not about those issues, but helping the client, helping the person reach their goals. Is that correct?
That's right. So coaching really is about forward-looking, and like you rightly pointed out, if there are issues that somebody needs to deal with, then you bring them to the table, and depending on if it's not a blocker, you move ahead and you just point them out to the person. And quite often the person knows about what issues they have, and sometimes if they don't, it's good to bring it to the table, but you don't have to deal with that issue. You may or you may not, depending on what the issue is and what the client wants to do. But
well, let's share your. Tell you something. Yes, I wanted to. Meera?
Everybody has, even I have issues. So there's no way you would get a client who doesn't have issues, you know?
Yeah, I got mine. I keep my baggage with wheels in my suitcase, so it's easier to move around with me. But yeah, I have issues. Yes. Speaking of issues, I want to do something better with my career. I'm in my little cubicle, and I want to do something different. I want to do something better. So I contact you, and I contact you through your website, and I contact you through MeeraCareerCoaching.com. That's MEeraCareerCoaching.com. Oh my God, I just can't even. I butcher the English language. You should feel bad for me, but that's part of being in America, right? We can't speak English over here. But anyway, Meera. It's because of all the high salty foods and stuff. I'm sure. I'm going to blame it on that.
I was going to say on my website there is a link also to my Facebook and Twitter. I'm much more active on Facebook, so if people want to just see what's going on and pictures and things, in addition to my tips, obviously, as everybody knows, Facebook is a great way to stay in touch as well. So they can connect with me on Facebook through my website as well.
You gotta love that. I just love this whole world we live in, where we can communicate each other without having to go knock on the door and wait in line or sit in the waiting room. We can we can phone.
We can see what each other's doing every second, every minute. It's fantastic.
Yeah, anything you need is available, whatever part of the world you're in. You don't have to just go to your local store to get something. You can get something across the world, or you don't have to just go to the local library to get something and order a book. You can get it online anywhere in the world. It's really amazing. It's really making a difference. And I appreciate the fact that you're also somebody who's available online to get coaching, so you can help somebody, and whether in London or whether they're in Timbuktu or, hey, it reminds me, I was looking at your website. You came from someplace a little bit more exotic than London. It said you came from Kenya. That's a little further south, isn't it?
It is further south. It's in East Africa, obviously. So I grew up in Kenya. I'm Indian. It's a very real fusion, because when I tell people I'm from Kenya, they look at me and they go, but you look Indian. And it's a real fusion, because I am Indian, but I was born and brought up in Kenya. So I've lived in Kenya most of my life. My parents still live in Kenya. My roots are still in Kenya. But then I did my university here, and I moved to London about 7-8 years ago and have been living here since. But yeah, I am from Kenya, and that's where my roots are from, which kind of makes it all the more fun and exciting.
It is kind of exciting. I've been traveling around a little bit, but I've still, in the United States, did a little bit of, flew out of the country a couple of times just down Central America. But certainly not across the world like you have. But usually wherever I go, people tell me, you're not from around here, are you? So I'm not sure if it really worked that much better over there, so I'm probably best to stay where I'm at. Okay. They always say not from here, but, I'm sort of, well, at least they know I'm there. If I go someplace and visit a little bit, next time I come back, they say, oh, you're back, Yes, you mean that good way, don't you? Oh, of course we do. We love you. Okay, thanks. But, I kind of stand out a little bit. 5'10", my deep voice and stuff. Yeah, they know I'm there, and I'm kind of a bubbly, really in your face stuff. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about, say, I'm in my cubicle and I want to do something different in my life. I'm thinking that, I want to get that promotion to vice president, or I want to do, or maybe I want to quit this whole corporate world and fly, be a pilot for airlines or something. But so what I do, I call you. I look for you on Facebook. I go to your website, look for you. I take some of your pointers you have there, and I go, yeah, I think this woman knows what she's talking about. She's had some similar experience in the corporate world. She's obviously well-educated, well-rounded, well-traveled, and so I want you to help me. So what are you going to do for me? Or, I'm here.
So now I can get into the nuts and bolts a little bit about, one, how I work, and then two, what I believe in, I guess. So if you contact me, the first thing we would do is have a consultation. It would be like a little chat, just a little consultation. Because first, when we speak, we have to make sure, although you've read my stuff, we have to make sure we connect and we like each other and we think we can work together, obviously. So we would do a consultation first. You would tell me where you're at, not in too much detail because that's part of the coaching, but you might say, I'm sick of my job, or I'm looking for change, or I'm looking to change careers, a brief nutshell of what brought you to me. Then we'll do a little consultation, so I'll ask you a few questions, and we'll talk about very quickly some high-level options, and I'll talk about then how I can help you. So with some people, they might want help with their job hunt, but a lot of it is they need help with rewriting their CV, but part of rewriting the CV is all the self-esteem stuff, isn't it? Because your CV really reflects who you are. And quite often when I read people's CVs, I can quickly tell how much they believe in themselves and how much they think of themselves and how much they value themselves.
That word you're saying, their CVs, what are you saying? What is that word?
Oh, like a resume.
Resume. You're calling it CVs. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we call it sorry.
I thought so. I wanted to translate it. I want to translate it to American.
Yeah, next time I need an American rest next to me. But no, so your resume really is a reflection of, one, how you feel about yourself at that point in time. The words you use.
Yes.
If you're feeling about yourself, you'll use really strong words like leading a team, managing a team, that you're responsible, that you're really good at what you do, you're an expert in something. When you're not feeling good, you'll use words like part of a team, or, you can just tell. And also,
well, how about really colorful? How about adding a lot of color to, change the font to blue or pink or something? I don't think that works for that either.
And then it's also, when people look back at what they've done, what really frustrates me is most people undersell themselves. I've noticed on their CVs, most people undersell themselves massively. And then when you undersell yourself, like whether it's through your CV, but that's your perception of yourself, that means a lot of the jobs you go for are below their own value and their own worth. And they really have some limiting beliefs based on past experiences. And when they don't go for what their true worth is, or they don't aim for, a really high value, it really drives me nuts. Because I'm like, come on, you're better than that. Look at everything you've done. Why are you going for that? So a lot of the work is around, it might be improving your CV. Then it might be a lot of the work I do is around the confidence. I'll come to that in a second. But then I also help with interview preparations. I help with if there's sometimes presentations that you have to do. I also a big thing I seem to be attracting at the moment is people who are at crossroads in their life. They're fed up of their jobs and they want to look for the next thing.
Yeah. I imagine.
So that's something I'm attracting quite a lot of, and I'm attracting obviously in this because.
Let me throw this example. Meera, let me throw this example out and tell me what you would do just real quick. Now, I'm just making this stuff up, and you don't have to answer. But say, my CV says Rachel Love, and I was vice president of this, and I was vice president of that, and I did this, and I did that. But I want to be an air traffic controller. That's always been my dream. What would you recommend to help me go from being a vice president of a company to an air traffic controller?
Okay, obviously, first thing we would check out why you want to do that, and is that really what you want to do, or is that...
Oh, yes. Okay. I like you.
So people are always eager to jump into action, and I'm like, I'm sorry to be really boring, but I need to check out a few things before I take you on any journey. So I would first check out, why do you want to do this? And is this just a hobby, or is this something, can this be a hobby, or is this something you really want to do for a living? Because anything that you turn into work stops being as fun as when it's a hobby. So we need to be really sure that you don't want to keep it at a hobby level to start with. A lot of times people are running away from something. I don't like that. I'm like, I don't want you to run away from something. I want you to move towards something. So there's a few checks I'll do. But assuming that okay, this is really, you've dreamt of this since you were 6 and now you want to do this.
Yeah.
The reality.
A lot of people they want to fly to the moon. I want to be an air traffic controller. Yeah, I have a good gig right now. I have, the executive toilet, and I even learned how to play golf, and I'm hanging with the good old boys playing golf, and things doing really well. I have lots of time. I spend a lot of time in boardrooms, of course, but I always thought it'd be so fun to be an air traffic controller. Okay.
Right. So this is what I would check out. You think it's just fun for a hobby, or really are you going to enjoy this for a living? Because that changes the whole equation, doesn't it? Yeah. But anyway, assuming that we work out this is really what you do want to do for a living, what then we would talk about is, I'm making some assumptions now. I don't know what they earn, but I would say, look, one of the things is that you might have to get reskilled. You might have to start at the bottom. You're probably going to earn a lot less than you did. Are you prepared to, 1, earn less, and 2, do you have some savings? So that will determine which strategy we approach.
Good point.
We might talk about getting you some skills that you need. Then we'd talk about, how to get your job using networks or CVs or connecting you to agents. But also I would talk about, even if you are willing to take, so then it would depend on, do you want to do this full time, or if you don't have the savings, or you don't want to take a pay cut, or you can't afford to take a pay cut, maybe you look at doing 3 days of still the corporate finance that you've been doing, and you do this for another 2 days. There are options based on how risky a strategy you want and your financial position. And then your skill set will determine how long it will be before you get a job. So we'd factor all that in and have a short-term strategy and a long-term strategy, I guess.
It does sound like you know what you're doing. I got to throw in a commercial and we're out of time. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Tune into Ravenhawk Talk Radio, where each Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, we bring you news on the Indigenous front. The people have awakened as our ancestors predicted. We have moved into a new world. We Indigenous people have come forth from all areas around the planet in support of our Mother Earth, this Turtle Island. Each week we will be talking to those who are truly committed to healing this planet. Listen to what we have to share with the world. That's Ravenhawk Talk Radio, Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. We welcome you as allies to come together on our journey. We are one voice, one fire.
That's Raven Hawk Talk Radio on Fridays. You still there, Meera? You back?
I am.
Okay. I push these buttons. Sometimes I'm not sure what I'm doing. I do like pushing buttons, but I'm not always pushing the right ones. I thought you brought up a good point, and I don't think a lot of us think about that. And I think I even heard you mention it once. You're in the job, you're in the corporate world, you're just doing the day-to-day stuff, you're speaking the corporate lingo, you're filling out the paperwork, you're getting your monthly evaluations, and you're fighting with people to get the next spot. You got the rumors going back and forth. You made it worse. You had a relationship with somebody that went sour on you, so now you have to work in the same office as somebody that you're not really friends with anymore. So here you are in this place, and you're thinking, it's time for a career change. I need to get out of Dodge. I need to do something different, or I want to go after more spiritual things. I want to make my life count. And you brought up the point that I thought was most of us forget about, and maybe that's why you're a coach. You need money. You just can't quit and just run off to do something without preparing, or can you? Is that a wise thing to do, just to give your 30-day notice or your 30-hour notice and disappear? Or is there some planning involved in these kind of things?
Well, it depends on your risk appetite, depends on your savings, depends on if you have a rich partner who can support you. There's lots of different factors. Some people have just had enough and they're quite happy to give up everything. So it depends on your appetite and your personal situation at that point in time, I suppose. I
like that risk appetite. I like the way that word sounded. I apparently very hungry for risky behavior.
Well, it does cause for an exciting. It's an exciting way of living, but it's not for everyone because it does come with a lot of sleepless nights, and it's not for everyone,
Yeah,
I'm with you. I like high risk, and I don't mind the sleepless nights, but I also know it's not for everyone.
So we're down to about 7 minutes left before the show is over. I always like to ask somebody how they like to see the world a different place, or what kind of difference, if you can do a magic wand, what kind of difference would you make in the world? And so I know you're a life coach, and I know you have some spiritual background and stuff, and I also know you've world traveled and you've done some stuff and you've had an appetite for taking risk. I know that a lot about you, and I know that you excel in whatever you do. That's obvious, and I have to applaud you for the work you're doing, helping people. I imagine you've helped a lot of people to get from one place to the next to make them happier and find what they're looking for. With all that being said, what do you want to see different in the world, or what is your vision of a better place or happiness, or where you're going to be in 6 years from now? Hey, it's not like an interview question, by the way. It just came across as an interview question when I asked where you expect to see yourself in 5 years. Sorry.
Yeah.
Corporate influence still stuck in me, I guess.
No, you asked quite a few different things, so I'll ask them quite quickly. I lost the time, but so the things that irk me that I would want to change about people or change on this planet. One is, just people being happy, obviously, and I know it sounds so cliche because everyone's like, oh, I want, happiness and peace. But the angle I want to come at it from is that I just want people to be able to be who they are and be true to themselves. And if you're true to yourself, then I think what I like is that knowing that the universe is always there supporting you to do whatever you want. And also, as a coach, the thing that I don't like is I think a lot of people undervalue themselves, and I like people, and it doesn't have to be monetarily, but however it is, I think people undervalue themselves. I really like people to value who they are and what they are. So I think all those three are quite interlinked for me. That's kind of what I wish more people would have consciousness for.
I do like what you said. We do undervalue ourselves, don't we? And I think you've seen enough resumes, and you have a different word for it, that you see that often. I've seen that, and people I know, they're always apologizing for who they are, or and it's sad because we are really a lot more than most people realize. So, and that was cool. I like that. I like those answers.
And I want to say something else. I know this is more on the spiritual side, but it's not really spiritual. We all have a spirit, or whether you call it a personality or spirit or a spark. We all have that spirit. And what happens, they started in the corporate environment, but what happens is a lot of people are just hiding their spirits. And at the end of the day, our spirit only wants three things. It's to have joy, to laugh, and to love, and to be acknowledged, I suppose. Those are the only things our spirit wants, but quite often we just trap our spirits and we just don't let them shine and be acknowledged. So for me, that's a big one as well.
It is. Okay, I'm ready to hire you. How much you need? You pass the interview. Now I'm just being silly. Well, I really haven't. I have enjoyed having you as a guest, and I do appreciate you calling in from the other side of the water and staying up a little bit later there. Appreciate that. I know we had some confusion at the time. I wasn't much help. I finally looked at myself and thinking, why is this so difficult? What time is it here compared to there? I guess I've been spending too much time in the moment. But I just did something really silly. I just asked my phone, what time is it in London now? And it just said it just like that. I go, damn, I should have done that a long time ago. I just kept getting out maps and looking at the old, Google it, look at the maps, and then try to do the math in my head and write down notes and stuff. But isn't that so true? Isn't that so true? Things change and there's opportunities.
Don't feel so bad on yourself, because I missed the whole radio show because of this whole Eastern timing thing. And that's why now I am careful. So don't worry, it's happened to me, and I've had a bad experience.
But I think sometimes it takes a new look at things and realize that there's different ways to do things. And so sometimes our failures and stuff actually teach us something. So I bet you help a lot of people, and I appreciate that you are helping people. I know a lot of friends that were still in the corporate world, still in their cubicle, and they didn't have the nerve to leave. They were too concerned that they weren't good enough, or they might fail at something. And so have somebody like you that's out there helping people to discover their true self. That's thank you very much. For my friends who don't know better, and I'm sure you've known people that don't take advantage of the services out there. So I would encourage them, and encourage you, my friend who's listening, to search out a life coach. And with the world as it is now, you don't have to just stay here in your little town to find your life coach. You can get online, and you can find life coaches all over the world that have an interesting perspective on things. You'll have to get used to her, that she doesn't speak American very well. She has this accent over there in London, but I'm just teasing her now. Her website is Meera.
By the way, all the American stuff.
Yes, Meera. You say your website. Tell people how to get a hold of you on your website. Give out your address.
Yeah, sure. So my website is www.Meera Career Coaching. That's MEERA. Career, CAREER. Coaching, COACHING.com. And I also wanted to add, to sign up for my free tips, sign up to my Facebook page. That's where, you'll be getting lots of free tips and news and excitement. But anything we've talked about on the show, I know we didn't get into anything too technical, we didn't have time. If anyone does have any questions or any clarity on anything I've talked about, drop me an email or respond to you, just clarifying anything. I don't mind.
Well, I do appreciate you being on air, and I appreciate everybody who's listening to the show today. And Meera, I really appreciate what you're doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been a real pleasure to share, Rachel.
Yes. Well, visit you on Facebook later. Bye-bye.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you.
Bye.